It's been a long time, a really long time, like 3 years, and a lot has happened in that 3 years. Most notably, I would say, what is it? 33,326 views. I don't know where this was when I started, but obviously some traction has picked up since I stopped posting. Pretty much tripled the view count and tons of comments too. So it's pretty cool to see. Also, in the last 3 years, I've kind of got fat. I wouldn't say I got fat, but I'm definitely not really fitting the description of fit AP. But we're getting back into it. I have a challenge going on TikTok right now where I'm posting every single day my morning routine, supplements that I'm taking, what I'm hitting at the gym, sauna, meditation, everything else that's going on. I'm documenting all of it. Basically, either I'm losing 50 pounds or I'm paying everyone who comments $50. So let's be honest though, I'm not paying anyone $50. But yeah, consider me back. I mean, if you're one of the 114 people that was subscribed 3 years ago and you're seeing this pop up on your feed and you probably don't even remember me, I hope you'll stay subscribed because you're going to be seeing even better content, more uploads, and just an overall revamp of the channel. Plus, you're going to see me go from like 22-24% body fat to hopefully down to the low 10s. And I'm hoping to do that in the next 5 to 6 months. So we'll see. I'm going to keep you guys updated on my process, but I'm also going to keep doing these SARM reviews, other information, and whatever you guys want. So drop a comment if there's anything specific you want to see. I'm just kind of brainstorming ideas right now for, like series that I can start, different topics. I've got a whole bunch lined up, but you will be seeing that on TikTok every single day in the morning. I'm posting my routine. So with that being said, that's kind of my update for where I'm at, where the channel's at, where it's going. And enough said, let's get back into it. So to get into the title of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about SARMs. Now, I'm not going to zero in on anything specific today. That's going to come a little bit later down the line. I just want to give a basic overview of what SARMs are. And I'm going to actually use steroids as something to compare it to so you can see the differences and similarities. This isn't medical advice. I'm not a doctor. Obviously, you can't stop anyone from doing this type of stuff. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it. But it is super important that if you do, that you do your research on it. Don't just watch one of my videos and then go order a bunch, If you are one of those people that's going to do this, take it seriously, do your homework, and make sure that you're taking all the necessary steps to make sure that it's a positive for your health and not a negative. So what are SARMs? So SARMs is actually an acronym. It stands for Selective Androgen Receptor Modulators. And you can basically think of them as having similar effects as steroids, specifically testosterone, but it's getting there a different way and it's not going to be nearly as strong. So it's often thought of as like a safer or easier alternative to testosterone or other pro-hormones like that. So if you take something like testosterone, for example, when you inject testosterone, what you're doing is actually flooding your body with more of the testosterone hormone, stimulating muscle growth and sex drive and everything else that comes along with that particular pro-hormone. And what happens when you do SARMs, you actually take it orally. Generally, it's a dropper that you put on your tongue. Terrible taste. It's like a disgusting, bitter, it's like the weirdest thing. But what it does is it stimulates anabolism. So the way that this works is you have androgen receptors in your body, and what the SARM does is it binds to those receptors and stimulates them. So there's a bunch of different androgen receptors in your body, and there's a bunch of different types of SARMs. So there's SARMs that you might use for cutting. That would be something like cardarine. There's some that are specifically for like building muscle mass. That would be like ostarine. And then there's a whole bunch more. We'll get into every single one. Instead of having like more testosterone in your body like you would with steroids, you're actually skipping that process. The SARMs are binding directly with the androgen receptors, stimulating that muscle growth or the fat burning or whatever it might be. So now that we've kind of been over how SARMs works versus something like a pro hormone, let's talk a little bit about the side effects. Now, the main reason that someone would choose to take SARMs over something like testosterone is because it has a lot less side effects. But this isn't to be too confused with like SARMs being like a totally safe thing to do. There's still a lot of studies that need to be done. And if you go to something like the FDA, like it's saying here, they're associated with serious safety concerns, including potential to increase the risk of heart attack or stroke and life-threatening reactions like liver damage. Now, obviously there is some truth to that, but let's get into some of the studies that have been done about SARMs so we can get a good idea of what the actual side effects are going to be. All right, so this is one of the more intensive studies that I could find that have been done on SARMs. So basically, the first thing that I think is important to look at here is outside of obviously the muscle growth that it's generally used for, there's actually quite a few things that it's been found for potential applications. So osteoporosis, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and Alzheimer's seem to be the big ones that I see keep popping up here. So that's pretty interesting. But what we're actually worried about more so is side effects. So in this particular study, so the only statistically significant side effects that this study found is listed right here. It says, finally, the potential for transdermal administration may circumvent hepatic metabolism and negate decreases in HDL, one of the only significant side effects of SARMs observed to date. So basically what this is saying is there's putting you at a risk for liver disease. So it's hard on the liver is basically the gist of what that says. Now, there are other things that you can stack this with to mitigate, liver damage. I haven't really seen many examples of people doing that with SARMs. I think it's relatively a safe substance, but it is important to note that it's not perfect. So to kind of conclude here, honestly, SARMs might not be the greatest alternative to steroids. It kind of depends on what your goals are. It's basically like you're going to be expecting a fraction of the results, but you're going to be taking on supposedly less side effects even than like you would for liver damage from like an oral antibiotic or something like that from SARMs. They're generally the same price, if not more expensive, but even with there being less side effects known, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a healthier alternative, because something like steroids, prohormones, testosterone, these are like incredibly studied substances. Doctors are using them, like they're prescribing them to people for all kinds of other things, and everything about them is already very well known. Whereas with SARMs, it's relatively new. They came out in the 90s, but they didn't start like popping off until maybe, I don't know, give it 6-7 years ago. So we honestly just don't know that much about them. So I don't even know if you could say that they are healthier, because even though there's less side effects known, it's just like we don't know that much in general. It seems like SARMs are becoming like super popular with like teenagers who don't want to inject steroids, and arguably SARMs are like easier to get your hands on, although I don't really know how much truth is to that. You're gonna find people that love them, you're gonna find people that hate them. Honestly, I'm somewhere in the middle. I've tried them. 3 years back or so, I stacked cardarine with ostarine. Basically, cardarine is like a fat burning one. I used that to cut, and then ostarine was kind of to bulk. I'll kind of throw up a before and after picture. It's not the best example in the world. It was like a 4-month period. Honestly, didn't even feel like I was on anything, and I definitely didn't take it as far as I could have or maybe should have for the results that I was looking for. But that's pretty much it, SARMs could be an alternative. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. You're obviously not going to get as many results. Potentially could be safer. People have been taking ostarine since like the 2000s. We'd probably know something by now. There isn't really much on it as far as like long-term side effects. So I guess, if you didn't want to like inject something, but you still wanted a relatively safe performance enhancer, I don't see a huge issue with SARMs. But regardless of what decisions you or anyone else is going to make, I'm going to get all the information out there. I'm just going to kind of go one by one, remaking all of the videos on all the different kind of SARMs, make sure that there's accurate information out there in a concise video that's watchable. And if there's anything specific that you guys want to know, drop a comment. I'll make a video on it. I'm going to be uploading pretty much every day. So hold me to it. Thank you guys for watching. It's honestly great to be back. I'm really excited for the channel and for me personally to have something to kind of tether me to this fitness journey, the road to losing 50 pounds and getting shredded. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.